Morning intuitives. Yeah, surprise, another, video before work. As usual, a topic that I've been thinking about for a couple days, and I decided that it's time to do a video about it, given some recent events, which I'm only going to touch on in this video because I have to do this video first to kind of give a prelude to the recent events. So, it's going to be a narcissism video. Please watch it. More people watch my INFJ videos than watch my narcissism videos, but yet narcissism videos are important and help people too, so I'm going to keep making them because things I've seen over the years are things that other people may not have noticed yet, and I want them to notice them. Hopefully a lot younger than I did, as the same as with knowing they're an INFJ and a demisexual and a Sigma male and things of that nature. So what I want to talk about today is how the narcissist will attack your success. Meaning, when you get to a point, and we all go through these stages in our lives, when you get to a point where you're finally achieving what you've wanted for so long and it's, within your grasp, the narcissist will come at you with everything they have because they do not want you to be successful. Because if you become successful, and especially if you're like me, even if long before you knew what narcissistic abuse was, you wanted to move away from your family, they don't want you to get away. You're their black sheep. You're their scapegoat. They need you, stuck within their little bubble, their little sphere of influence. In my case, Chester County, Pennsylvania, home of the cult of Chestertology, which deifies baby boomers and denigrates anybody born after 1964 and lionizes the good old boys club. And it's pretty much, its mission is that baby boomers are the ever living, and American culture must be drugged back to the 1980s because that was Camelot. Anyway, but especially if you're somebody like me, if you're the type of black sheep that I was, that even though you didn't know exactly what was wrong, you knew something was up. You knew things weren't normal, and you knew like there was something wrong with these people. You knew perhaps they were out of touch. They lived in their small, closed off world. You knew that where you grew up didn't function like the rest of the world. Like maybe like me, it was a relic of the past. And you knew what they were, deep down, you knew what they were saying about you isn't true. Because, most of the time, when a narcissist is accusing you of things, it could either be projection, it could be flat out lies, or it could be, at best, half truths that they'll twist and spin doctor into making a lot worse than what it is. Because it's not, when a narcissist is accusing you of something, they're not lecturing you on what you did. It's not about what you did. It's the fact that you were the one who did it, and that's what makes it bad. If anybody else did it, it wouldn't be bad, but you don't have the rights that everybody else has. You exist only to be shit on. You are their servant. You exist to serve them and glorify them. You exist only at their whim. So when and if you call them out and fight back, deep down, they know that you can see right through them, as I could. That's why they feared me. That's why I had to be kept down, because they knew I knew. Now, they had to keep me isolated and ostracized and made to think that, I was this freak that, nobody would like, and everywhere's like Chester County, and, if you don't fit in with the way things work here, it's the same everybody else. We never lived there, but we just know, because we're baby boomers, we're baby boomers. We know everything. We created everything. There was nothing before us, and there will be nothing after. All exists at our pleasure. All exists to pleasure us because we are God's incarnate. We are baby boomers. That's the mentality they have. But deep down, they know, they know they're corrupt. They know, they live in an area, in my case, an area full of nepotism and good old boys clubs and sexism and racism and misogyny. And the ones that defend that are the ones that needed that system in place the way it is to have what they have. Without that system being rigged in their favor, they would have nothing. They would have no influence. So if someone comes along who wants to call that out, who wants to make people think like, hey, this is not right on virtue, A, and B, the rest of the world, noticed this decades ago. No, that That's a threat. And especially if you can achieve something that they never could, because in order to achieve it, it would require them to leave their cushy lair, their bubble, where they have the old boys club to protect them. Because beyond the walls of Chestertology, the members of my family would have no choice but to have to rely on their own merit and work ethic, of which they have none. They only have the influence of the old boys clubs, and boomers in Chester County stick together since high school, and everything's a continuation of high school. That's pretty much what it is. So, and of course, we're going to talk about being a firefighter, because really this goes back to 2006, as most of this does, and I promise I'm going to do a video just on my life in 2006. Maybe tomorrow when I'm off. That's going to be a long one. I need to have a time to do it when I don't have to worry about getting a video done and getting out the door to drive to work. That's when I need like unlimited time to do. So in my case, long before I knew what narcissism was, I wanted to be a firefighter. I'm not going to get into this too deep because I'll get into it in the 2006 video, but became an EMT at 17, started testing for paid firefighter jobs in like 4 different states as soon as I got out of high school at 18, because you have to be 18 and out of high school in order to sit for the civil service exams. Those are the rules. Got hired at 19. It got stolen from me along with a few others right before the recession, and then there was no more testing for 6 years. But I bring this up for this reason. When I was 19 and on my way out, like I had the offer in my hand, like the final offer of employment that I had signed and the fire chief signed, that was notarized, like, it was per se written in stone, or at least, sealed in paper with a notary stamp. They were on such an attack because if I became a paid firefighter, professional, in especially Arlington. I mean, Arlington's, a big name department in the United States. It's a 9/11 department. This was the department that was first on the scene when the plane hit the Pentagon. One of the people actually who was one of the first firefighters on that scene was my commanding officer and mentor when I was in the academy there 2 years ago. But that would outshine the crown prince, the queen bee narcissist. See, most of this comes from the queen bee narcissist. I forgot to mention that. But that would outshine, the heir apparent, who's a volunteer, who never became a paid guy because there's no paid guys in Chester County. So that's unlike the jobs that he's had, and he hasn't worked since 2004 when he was about 37. The jobs he did have was through mommy's influence, mommy, queen of the baby boomers. So for him to get a paid firefighter job outside of Chestertology, Queen Mommy can't help him. So he never did it. He never even tried. But he doesn't want me to have it because that would outshine him, and he makes up these arbitrary rules like, you must volunteer first. It's like, well, I was a fucking EMT for 3 years. Oh, no, but that's not fire. It's like, well, the two have been intertwined since the 90s. It's like, well, you didn't fight a fire. I'm like, well, not interiorly, but exteriorly. He's like, but it's all about fire. I'm like, well, no, the fire service hasn't been all about fighting fire since the 70s. In fact, over 70% of calls in the modern fire service are EMS. Only about 30% are fire related. And I've done, in my time in my late teens, fire operations, exterior. I wasn't allowed to go inside, but I did do exterior stuff. So interior firefighting was the only thing I missed. So yeah, but I'm not qualified for a job despite fire science college classes, EMT certs, EVOC, years of experience as an EMT, a little exterior firefighting, like ridiculously in shape, not now, but when I was 19. But I'm not qualified because I was never a know-all, be-all volunteer in Chester County. And I'll tell you the truth about, being a volunteer here. Even if you're the most dedicated volunteer in this area, you might fight 2 fires a year. There's just not that many. That's why the department is volunteer and not paid. And also, if you're a volunteer firefighter, that ain't paying the bills, so you have to have a job that pays in order to pay the bills, and that can limit the time of when you go on calls. Anyway, I mention this because I had something in my hand, something that, I wasn't supposed to have because he never had it, because the rules were, according to the narcissist, that if you're born in Chester County, you die in Chester County. It is supposed to be your whole world. And I didn't realize all this at the time, but they were trying to destroy me. They wanted me trapped in this area, miserable, married to some materialistic, forever high school woman, working as a landscaper, because because anything that would provide me an outlet to actually help people and give me purpose and give me confidence, that they see that as a threat to them. And especially me live in the area for that reason, because I've noticed every other area I've lived, I've never really had a problem making friends, relating to people. People actually like me and have told me I'm like a natural leader. It's only here within their influence, in the narcissist influence, where I seem to be, kept down and have a problem. And the only reason why I have a problem is because I call them out. And one of the largest tenets of Chestertology is thou shalt not question the sacred status quo, which I do. So, they see me as a threat to their cushy status quo, in which if anybody questions it, because it's the house of cards, it falls apart. And then they have nothing, because on their own merit, they are nothing. And this pattern continued in 2019 when I once again received a, offer of employment, and I had my apartment and I was moving like it was set in stone. There was no way they can stop it, and they tried. They called down there with their, oh, don't you know who I am, and I'm this big shot, and no, they laughed at them. They actually got a taste of, nobody gives a fuck about Chester County. It's nothing. It's not, the center of the world as you are led to believe, and you are nothing, queen bee, narcissist, baby boomer bitch. But, their fakeness and their attack, they were so upset that I got that and that I was going, because I'm not allowed to have that because they said so. Not that, I earned it twice over at that point. Twice. Went through the process and, aced it. It doesn't matter. That's not for you. You're supposed to do this because I said so. So when the narcissist sees that you're breaking free, that you're not only going to be in a position that provides you, decent pay, sense of purpose, confidence, and in my case, except for what happened with the bully, but as far as my other recruits go, an environment that provides you, like, essentially a real family, because that's what the fire service is supposed to be. They know in that situation there'd be no stopping you. And once a black sheep is empowered and are around people that understand and actually care about them, then the narcissist days are numbered, because they know they're getting called out. And they know what they really are. And they know that there's shit, that if the black sheep becomes empowered and has people backing them, that there are things that the narcissist just can never, ever, ever answer for, no matter how much I just know and I'm a holy baby boomer bullshit they try to pull, because they know, their justifications and their double standards are bullshit, but they get away with it because within their little lair, within their hometown, in my case, as I said, Chester County, Pennsylvania, they have so many enablers that are just so afraid of a narcissistic freak out by them, or just, they're just lazy automatrons, or it's just like, whoa, this is what it is, the status quo, and they get away with it, and they go unquestioned. No, they made a mistake by making an INFJ a black sheep, because my integrity is unbreakable. And this ties in, as you'll see in a future video in the near future, into more recent events and into my lawsuit against the fire service, which not only challenged, but I wouldn't say shattered, but certainly damaged the walls of the firefighter old boys club. Like, not that we've conquered the old boys club, but the wall is breached. And that bothers the Crown Prince of Chester County very, very, very much. The narcissist will always project in these moments. They will always be on the attack whenever they see you gaining ground. As I said, you gaining ground is the beginning of the end for them. You getting success is the beginning of the end for them. Because if you get success and get away from them, the clarity of no contact and the clarity of just being away and going, oh my God, I was everything, especially as an INFJ, everything my intuition was telling me all those years when I was young, that they convinced me that it was nuts, was right. I was right all along, and I didn't listen. And now with the clarity of time and age and having the time to sit back and put the pieces of the puzzle together, it all makes sense. And when you explain this to other people and they get it, they know the jig is up, because they know they're going to be exposed. They know that you can explain to other people who don't know them, who aren't intuitives, what they really are, and then eventually it's going to spread like wildfire, and the game is up for them, and the game is all they have. Now, you have to be careful until you get to this point. The best way to avoid a narcissist is just not to play their game. You have to, I do recommend calling them out and exposing them for who they are, but you can't usually, like the vast majority of the time, can't do that in the moment. That takes planning. You have to play the long game. You need to get away from them. You need the time. You need the clarity. You need, you know, various accounts of them acting the way they are with multiple different witnesses who saw it. It's a process. It's like a fucking legal case essentially. But you'll know when you're getting to them, because when you're achieving anything, any kind of success, they'll be on the attack, and know that's why they're on the attack. It's not by coincidence. It's because they see your change, their control over you loosening, and they know if it keeps going this direction, eventually you're going to be too strong emotionally to control, and not only that, you're going to come for them, and rightfully so. So just remember this. Check out my other narcissism videos. Um, Watch other channels on narcissism if you're dealing with people like this. The information's out there now. It wasn't in the mid 2000s when I was in my teens. It just, there was no YouTube until I was 19. The information just wasn't there. It is there now. Take advantage of it. Know what you're dealing with before you go to battle with a narcissist, and know that it is not you that's the problem, it's them, and that they're attacking you for a reason, because deep down they fear you.